Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Huddersfield Town chat with me, Stephen Downs, and we've got Zach Wood here. Welcome, everybody, to the Town chat. Obviously, get your comments in. We're here to talk about the new manager. We're here to talk about Watford away and reflecting on the last couple of weeks and the real sea change that there's been within the in the entire fan base and the club, really, with the appointment that's made. You can follow us on all socials, the West Yorkshire Football Show, on Twitter, Facebook, and obviously live here on YouTube. Get your comments in. We'll react to it on the show. So I'll introduce him. Zach, obviously back again. I think this is our third episode on. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good, mate. A lot more positive since our last podcast, I think.
Oh, I mean, it's chalk and cheese, isn't it? From where we were, 2-3 weeks ago. A couple of wins under our belt, a couple of 4 good performances in a row. Yeah, feeling good, mate. Feeling really good.
Yeah, it's a lot different to sort of the time before the Sheffield Wednesday game where, we knew that there was going to be a change. Obviously, Darren Moore had been sacked. But we didn't really know how that time period under John Worthington was going to go. And I think we can all say, me, you, and Callum, who's not on the podcast tonight. Obviously, he'll be back next time. But I think there were a bit of nerves, weren't there, mate, really, going into that Sheffield Wednesday game with it being so big and we didn't know what was going to happen and where the club's direction was going to go next. And, it's such a change of view now. Obviously, we'll come on to talk about the new manager. But how have you felt over the last couple of weeks since John taking over the team?
Yeah, I think overall it's a big sigh of relief. It's bizarre, right? Because before the Sheffield Wednesday game, we were further away from the relegation zone than we are now. But it feels very different to before that Sheffield Wednesday game, or even very different to probably half time in the Sheffield Wednesday game, right? I mean, it's just been completely tide changing the way we set up, the way the team look, the way the ground feels. I mean, walking into a game now, you're sitting, taking your seat, feeling positive, and you can see now a style of play that Huddersfield Town are trying to play.
Yeah, I sort of agree with that, really. That Sheffield Wednesday half-time was a bit nerve-wracking. I'm not going to lie. I was like, right, these are not very good. We're not, we're doing okay, but neither side seemed to have any quality on, and it was a bit difficult, that game. But obviously in the second half, we showed all our quality, didn't we?
We did, mate. We did. I mean, as much as it was our quality, I mean, I think they also folded and didn't really deal with the pressure of the fixture that well in the second half. But absolutely, man. I mean, we put them to the sword. Just seeing us take chances. That Josh Karoma, when he was 1-on-1, how many times have we seen that throughout the season where that the keeper would have saved that or he'd have even missed the target? Just putting them chances away and putting Sheffield Wednesday to bed. It felt good, mate. Walking out of that ground after that 4-0 win felt good.
Yeah. We then obviously go into a very tough stern test away at Southampton. And, I don't think anybody was expecting a result there. But, to go 2-0 up in that game against one of the best sides in the league was an exceptional, chance to get something out of that game. And we just, we ran out of energy, I think. And Southampton had a couple of players that they could bring off the bench and make all the difference looking back on that fixture.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, they've brought £55 million worth of players off the bench. We've gone 2-0 up. We've played really well. It's bizarre because we conceded 5 goals in a half of football, and probably any other fan base would be like, I can't believe we've done that. But we had Bolker out, we had Helik out, so we had a makeshift back 4. But we created so much. Like, it could have been 6-6 that game. Genuinely, it could have been 6-6. I was impressed with the way we put them under pressure. Even some of the fans, the Saints fans after the game, were saying we're the best side to go down to the St Mary's this season, which I don't think we've had any other team compliment us this season. Never mind say we're the best team to go down there. So yeah, mate, I just think there's so many positives to take out of a 5-3 loss. Just the fact we're creating chances and we were putting teams under pressure. So yeah, I came away again. I didn't make it down to St Mary's. I watched it on a stream, and the resounding feeling after that fixture as well was, look, the tide's changed and we've carried on where we left off against Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, and then we go into a game against Sunderland. You know, Michael Beale obviously has now left that football club, and it seems like, you know, us and Birmingham, the defeats that he's had recently are the ones that did it for him. I thought we were just absolutely superb that game. That it was probably the best performance of the season for me, Zach.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was probably the most complete performance of the season.
Yeah,
You know, we created enough in the first half, probably going 2 or 3 up. And then we were solid at the back in the second half when we needed to. A couple of big saves from Lee Nichols, the one where he's 1-on-1 and I think he shouldered it around the post, and then nearly the second Tom Lee's own goal in a couple of games where he's tipped over the bar at the end. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it was a very complete performance. I think going into the ground, it felt good. I mean, like I said, I took my seat feeling really positive, having watched the Sheffield Wednesday and the Southampton fixtures, and we didn't disappoint, mate. We created absolutely loads, and the difference was, and I think we've been saying it week after week, everyone you speak to is we had players to come off the bench. You know, we bought Bergzog off the bench, we bought Danny Ward off the bench, we've got Diarra to come on who looks a different player. So yeah, it's just good, mate, to have options, and John Worthington's getting the most out of everyone. So it's another good game, mate, another good result.
I definitely think that made a massive difference to us before the game, seeing those names on the bench. You know, that's probably the strongest bench we've had all season. It got really thinking back the whole way through so far.
Probably the strongest bench we've had in the last 18 months. You know, we had Bojan on the bench, we had Bergzog, Danny Ward. I mean, 3 strikers on the bench. I don't think we've had 3 strikers in his squad for like the last 3 years combined. It's mental.
Yeah, mad. And then the last game that Worthy took over, obviously Andre was announced by them, but you know, John Worthington going into the last game against Hull City, another difficult opponent that's looking for the playoffs. I thought it would be maybe a sterner test than what Sunderland put up, but you know, so close again. I mean, we could have drawn that game 1-1. We might have been able to win it. Hull had chances, of course, as well, but to lose it in the dying seconds was just so heartbreaking, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first half was a little bit flat, but I think I expected that given the fact that we'd had a day less to prepare for the game than Hull.
Yeah,
I think that you could tell. I mean, you know, Ben Wiles, I think I was his biggest critic at this, you know, under the Moore regime, but he looks a different player, and he just looked a little bit leggy in that first 45, to be honest with you. And I felt like we missed Kasumu in there. Like, obviously, we had Johnny Hogg coming back in. I think we missed the energy of Kasumu. That might be because, again, he's not started loads of football over the last sort of 3 months. So, again, managing players, managing minutes on the pitch. So, that first 45, we looked flat. And then I think it was a little bit harsh probably to go goal down, if I'm being completely honest with you, as early as we did. We started a little bit flat, but then after the second half, mate, we come back out that second half, and it just fuck and cheese to the first half performance. You could see everything that Worthy had said at halftime: get on the front foot, put them under pressure, create chances. Something like 17 shots at goal in the game. Bergzog, massive chance that he dragged wide. We've obviously hit the post. And then I felt like we got us just deserved when we equalised. But, you know, the reason we all love football is because it's not over till it's over. They've gone up the other end, and I think I was leaving my seat before the ball had even hit the back of the net, if I'm being completely honest with you. Yeah, gutted, absolutely gutted. And what? But then when the dust settles and you start to reflect, you think, look how far we've come. We'd have, under Darren Moore, we would have sat back against Hull and we'd have lost 1 or 2-0 anyway. So the fact we've gone for it, and we've, you know, when we went 1-1, I think I was looking at the clock thinking there's 3 minutes left here, we've got a chance.
I don't think we would have picked up a point, Zach, under Moore. In them 4 games, well, we might have picked up a point against Sheff Wednesday.
Being 0-0 against Sheff Wednesday like it was away, mate.
But the other 3 games, there's no way we're sort of, you know, backing ourselves to go and definitely not against Sunderland. 3 points against Sunderland.
No chance,
magnificent result. You know, Worthy's done a great job. Kevin came out on his recent diary and you know, said what a wonderful job he did, and I think he just put passion, energy, and you know, give the players some belief after what has been a sort of torrid middle part of the campaign, really, under Moore, where I feel like the players didn't get to express themselves. This is only my opinion. You know, they talked about the shackles being taken off by Worthy, and I think that's exactly what he did. He just said, "Look, lads, what have we got to lose? Why don't you just have a go against these teams and just show what you can do, mate?" And I think they proved that, and we all proved that we can beat, quite a lot of teams in this division.
Yeah, I think when we were discussing it before the Sheffield Wednesday game about Worthy coming in and taking temporary charge, I think I said it. I was excited just to see some passion on the touchline, and that definitely came across in the players on the pitch as well. But what was evident to me was how he's clearly simplified the messages to the players. Attackers attack, defenders defend. Simple game of football. Like the messages we talked. I think we heard it under Fotheringham. Clarity, never had it. Under Moore, the players didn't look like they knew what the game plan was, if there was one. And under the fort, even on, he's had 2-3 days on the training pitch before the Sheffield Wednesday game, but you could see that they knew what they were doing. They knew the messages. They knew the tactics. They knew that if they could keep Sorba Thomas and Josh Karoma high up the pitch, it meant that it pushed their fullbacks back. You could see it straight away.
I think that word clarity is imprinted on my mind forevermore, isn't it?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I just think he simplified the messages, put a little bit of passion in it, and look, we lost 5-3 to Southampton, but as Huddersfield Town fans, the bare minimum we expect is passion and heart on the pitch. And we lost 5-3 to Southampton. Fine, but I could see passion. I could see a game plan. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season, to be honest with you.
Yeah, 100%. Well, obviously, Mr. Breitenreiter, has been appointed. We've heard from him for the first time the other day at his press conference yesterday. Obviously, just a couple of comments are coming in. Obviously, friend of the show, Ian, he's mentioned about Keane Harrott. We might touch on that a little bit later. Ian, so please keep watching, mate, as you always do. And then Mark, he said that he's looking forward to the trip to Watford, and that speaks volumes to me, Zach, about the fact that we are excited about going to a fixture that normally we don't expect a lot from, and I'm sure we can come on to some memories against Watford very soon. But it's fantastic to see that fans are excited now, and that a lot of that I think is down to the appointment of Andre and the fact that how he's spoken in the first 24 hours. And, his record speaks for itself. He was promoted with Paderborn up to the Bundesliga for the very first time, very much like David Wagner did with us in 2015. He then won the Swiss title, actually, against Wagner's young boys in Switzerland with Zurich. I think that was the first time they've won the title since 2009. He also had another promotion in Germany too. Yeah, he's had some difficult spells, but I think when you look into the background of those spells at Hanover, at Hoffenheim particularly, there were reasons why he didn't succeed there. And he obviously believes, from what he's saying, Zach, that the right people are in this football club at Huddersfield Town, and he feels like he can bring something to the party and get us going again. And to me, I know we want to talk a little bit about this, but it does give me 2015 Wagner vibes, where we've gone from something stale, uninspiring, no positivity, and gobbledygook football that's just boring to watch, to something different out there, that's front foot, forward playing football, that's high energy, and will get the John Smith Stadium rocking on a Saturday afternoon, mate. What's been your thoughts on, firstly, the appointment and what you read into it, but then again, how you reacted to what he's had to say in his first interview and press conference?
Yeah, so I think, like a lot of people, I think we were pleasantly surprised that we'd gone a bit left field. I was getting a little bit nervous with some of the names linked. I think on the previous discussion we had around the next manager, I think I made it pretty clear I was quite uninspired by the list.
Yeah.
And when Andre Breitenreiter was linked, I'm not going to sit here and say I knew loads about him, because I didn't.
I didn't know he existed, mate. He wasn't a human on the planet.
I mean, obviously, you get people that do know the stuff, and you've got to trust what they've written. There's some good articles out there. I think Stephen Chicken did a good sort of overview of his career so far. The biggest standout thing for me was the fact that he's got clubs with low expectations promoted, So he's clearly able to change the mindset of clubs, which is what we
Yeah.
need right now. We need a mindset change. 42% win record. I do not recall when we've hired a manager with a win record that high. Normally,
No.
and for me, based on the knowledge that I've read about him since and what I understand about him and his record, it's probably the best hire a manager in terms of credentials and actual what he's won and done his career. It's probably the best hire that we've had that I can remember.
Better than Wagner?
Absolutely. What did Wagner achieve before he come to Huddersfield Town?
That is true.
I'm talking about what he's done and what he's achieved. We've not hired a manager with his credentials.
Yeah,
ever.
I mean, were you surprised that we hired somebody with such a background, really, in what he'd done before? I mean, like you say, the fact that he'd done what he'd done at Paderborn, and then he'd gone to Schalke and got them into Europe and won a title with Zurich. I mean, the successes really that you don't expect to be of a Huddersfield Town manager's-esque background, do you?
No, you're right, mate, and I think, and that's unfortunately though, that's a shame because that's our mindset as fans, right? We've positioned ourselves now to expect the bare minimum, and anything above that is deemed a success or a good news story. But I think the mindset now of what Kevin did in the January transfer window, of what John Worthington did in a 4-game spell, has completely transformed now what the hierarchy in the club want. So I think Darren Moore at the time of his appointment was probably more of a Mark Cartwright hire. Yeah, being completely honest. I think Andre is more of a Nagel and Jake hire, if I'm being honest. And I do know as well that there was a previous Huddersfield Town director of football who was acting as a consultant during the hiring process of Andre as well, which is good. Which we should be leveraging other people in the industry to get the hire that we want, and I think that definitely helped. But I also think Huddersfield Town in general in Germany have quite a good reputation as a club.
I did like in Andre's press conference, whether he actually meant it, I don't know, but he about the better reputation than Leeds. Obviously, we've got a few Leeds fans watching this stream at the moment, so I'm sure they had a good laugh at that line. But I think with what we did under David, it did open up international sort of avenues that the club didn't have before. And I know for the fact that, you look at the French market where we've bought players, youth players, and brought them to the club, Diarra, Etienne Kamara, so on a European level, we are starting to have a little bit of an effect, aren't we? And a good reputational effect as well.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think we'd have got Mark Fotheringham if we hadn't have had that that reputation. No, absolutely, mate, absolutely. And to be a forward-thinking club now, you've got to cast your net a little bit wider than England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. You know what I mean? You have got to. There's much more out there. There's different ideas, different footballing philosophies. And right now, at Huddersfield Town, we needed a complete mindset change. And the brief sort of interviews that Andre's done so far has done nothing but continue that positive trajectory in the fan base. And we needed it. If we'd have got a Duff, for example, I think that would have popped the lead balloon. Going from a Johnny Worthington back to a Duff character, I just think it'd have popped the balloon. They've done the right thing. They've gone out. They've taken the time. People were criticising them how long they were taking, but there was no point rushing. If they knew there was a chance from the outset of getting Andre Breitenreiter and a manager with that credentials, you take your time.
100%. And I was in the same boat. Like, why are we panicking about? If we'd appointed Duff, I'd have been more like, hang on, why are we taking about 4 weeks to appoint him when we kind of know all about him? But the fact that they've properly done their research and actually taken the time this time, and not just thought, well, he'll do. It was and it's a brave decision. You have to say it's a brave decision. I know we don't know how it's going to pan out, do we? I've got very good vibes about it, and so have other supporters. I mean, let's just get a few comments in here. So we've got Ryan. he's saying, why wouldn't it work? Well, obviously, I think if people have read Stephen Chicken's article, they'll see that there are a few negatives to his past jobs. But as I say, there are reasons when you look into them, the clubs that he's not succeeded with. There are reasons why, either I think at Hoffenheim there was board structural problems, at Schalke when he didn't succeed the second season. There was a change of director of football that wanted a different plan entirely. So, there are reasons why he failed at certain clubs. But you have to say, in the terms of his overall sort of managerial career so far, it's been wholly positive. And that's what I think we need to keep on that positive line. Also coming in is, again, we've got Steve. He's looking forward to Watford as well. Excited for the new sort of chapter under Andre, and we'll come on to the Watford fixture in a minute, mate. But it obviously, in terms of Andre and the way that he's set himself out in the press conference, Zach, I think we've got to be careful that we don't have too many comparisons to 2015. German head coach. Yes, you've said about the great background, and although Wagner didn't have that, and they play kind of they don't play that similar styles, but the high energy stuff is definitely there, and the way that they like to see the game is there. But it does give me 2015 vibes, mate, and I don't think we can help that, can we?
No, I think first of all, obviously the clear message, right, is we're 2 points above the drop. Yeah. So we have to just kind of let's get over that hurdle first. And it's always a risk bringing in a manager who doesn't know the English divisions, doesn't know the Championship, although I'm sure he's clever enough to do his homework. But you're absolutely right. I think his style of play gives me not, I wouldn't say 2015 vibes, because I think I don't want to put pressure on him. Like, he's probably his own man. He's got his own philosophy in football. He's got his own ideas. And I think comparing it too much to David Wagner, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I just don't necessarily think it's the same. For example, his style of play is, it's high energy, but a lot of it is around, obviously he said it already, right? He wants more of the ball. He won't achieve that this year because he knows it takes longer term to bed that in. But if you think back to Wagner, that was a lot quicker in the transition. So that might be a little bit different. But what excites me is the fact that he wants to have one person in the pivot in the midfield. So no longer are we going to see two holding midfielders with Matos next to Hogg. No. Hogg, like he has done under Worthington, probably will be more of a bit part player for the rest of the season, which allows Kasumu to play higher up and be a little bit more energetic in the midfield. Obviously, like you said, very similar to the Wagner days. It'll be high energy off the ball. But what does excite me is he talks about transforming the club. So that's where the comparisons, I think, need to be made to Wagner's era. I think transforming the club on and off the pitch. That's what's important, because as much as we don't like to say, us fans have become acceptance of losing. We've sunk back into that small club mentality that we had sort of pre-2015, and we need to brush that aside again and hit the restart button. And I think he allows us to do that, mate, and hopefully can turn these draws into wins.
I think for me, I totally agree with you in terms of the off-field stuff. Wagner came in, revolutionised training, the training complex at Canal Side, wanted it to be more a professional environment, and obviously got the players in for twice-a-day training. That wasn't seen in English football. I think obviously in terms of the way that players train and the fitness regimes and all that, we were under Wagner, undoubtedly, always one of the fittest teams in the Championship. We could go to the end of matches and then play another half after that. That's how fit the players were. If you go back statistically, look at the information. And I believe that Andre will have that same sort of idea. He wants his players to be fit. I love the pivot idea. But the other thing is that Wagner played a very 4-2-3-1 system, right? And he didn't really ever deviate from that. Very rarely, unless it was an opponent where he felt that he had to do something different against. Where I think Andre's slightly more got the ability to change his formations. So sometimes he'll play 4-1-2-2, or he'll play 4-2-3-1, or he'll play a 4-1 sort of 4-1 system, and use the fullbacks as high up as possible, and make sure that the centre backs are playing the ball quick. So I think he's more adaptable, Zach. And what I also think is that you look at the statistical information within his teams in Germany, particularly, he's very good at changing games, which is not something that our managers in the past have been very good at.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I think the in-game management, especially under Darren Moore, was poor. I felt like at times
It was pathetic. It was pathetic.
Yeah, I know, mate. And there's times when we needed to go get the winner, because we drew enough games under Darren Moore, but we'd just be so negative and just sit back and accept the draw. Whereas I think if the same circumstance occurred under Andre, a little bit like under Worthington, right? So they'd make an attacking sub rather than just making a defensive sub to consolidate the point. So yeah, I agree. I think the fact that he can be a little bit more fluid in his formations to suit the team we've got, it will only benefit us. And I think, in the Championship, we're so used to teams setting up the same way each game, which again sometimes can work through repetitive patterns of play and whatnot. But I'm just excited, mate. I think you can probably tell in my voice. I think we've needed this for a long time to come on, to go to a game not expecting to just roll over or sit back and hope for the best and get a point. The fact John Worthington started it, and hopefully Andre can continue on that trajectory.
Yeah, no, and hopefully, we'll see a continuation of what Worthy's done. But you go back to when David was appointed, and I went to his first 4 fixtures. Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, Forest, Middlesbrough, maybe Bristol at home, and you could see a change already in them 4 fixtures. Andre's come in and said in the press conference he wants to see changes bang now, and also moving into the next few weeks, he wants to see those tactical awareness and style of play changes right from the off. And I love that. I think that's so positive in his outlook, that he's not going, well, Matty Pearson can't do that and Tom Lees can't do that. He's looked at the squad and thinks, right, well, what can they do? How can I make them better? And that's what Wagner did for me. He didn't come in and say, oh, Mark Hudson, all he is a tall centre-back that can head the ball. He made Mark Hudson into a better centre-back at the age of 32. And I think this guy can do the same with Tom Lees and Matty Pearson, and, particularly Bolker. I mean, I found I know he went off injured, but his stint in the Sunderland game was absolutely outstanding for me. And he's so pacey as a centre-back. I mean, when was the last time we had a pacey centre-back?
Said the exact same. I can't remember the last time. I've seen one of his recovery runs. Oh yeah, there was one of his recovery runs, wasn't there? And in the first half, the ball's got played over the top. And the fact is, we can actually play a high line now because we've got someone who can make them recovery runs. But he's absolutely rapid, mate. I just want to see him next to Hellick for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
That honestly, genuinely, that to me, if we can keep them 2 in the summer, keep them fit, genuinely, that could arguably be the best centre-back pairing in the Championship. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but they are, both of them, absolutely class, and they complement each other as well.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, what's he going to do on Saturday against Watford? Because we've played with 3 at the back for probably, I don't know, 2.5 years now, 3 years maybe. Is he going to change it straight away and go for just 4 at the back? Because one of the key. Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, did we not set up at 4 at the back against Hull? So I think Matty Pearson was at back, wasn't he? And then we had Tom Lees, Brodie Spencer, and then who played left back? Can't remember, but
was it Nakayama?
You know what I mean?
Was it Nakayama? I can't remember now.
I can't remember, but we started 4 at the back. So I think I'm not sure, mate. But I just whatever team he picks, I think, like you said, I think he'll be one of them managers that can maximise anyone's potential. I genuinely do, and maybe I'm getting carried away. Maybe we both are, but just listening to him, the way he speaks, and his philosophy about football, mate. He's not. I don't think he'll demand loads of money in the summer. I think he'll want to work with some of the players he's got. Genuinely, I do. He sounded excited about the team that we've got and the squad we've got, which I think we all are. we know if the team's fit and the squad's fit, we're not a team that should be 2 points above the bottom three.
No, I agree with that. And you know, you look at Millwall that's changed their manager today and gone backwards, in my opinion, to Neil Harris. Maybe it's must must. Sorry, and we did the same with Warnock. But it'll be interesting to see whether they have that managerial bounce. Two of the players that have probably the outstanding players within Worthy's 4 games have been in charge has been Alex Matos and Geordie Spencer. Geordie's been in the academy and come back from Motherwell, had a very good stint up there, played excellently, and he's come back and been excellent since he's got into the team. Tough tackling fullback for me. He's not a centre back. I think he's a full-back / wing-back because he can get up and down the pitch. He's got great engine, and he's very good tactically at knowing where he is on the pitch. I've watched him a couple of times, and defensively he's on it, isn't he? And he can get back there. And then Alex Matos, I think he's just a younger version of Hoggy. I think he's just got, but I think he can go on to better things than probably Hoggy can or did in his career. He's got a good pass on him. Can put a great tackle in, got loads of energy. I mean, unbelievable energy to get up and down the pitch. And I think them two, particularly, Andre's going to love managing.
Yeah, I think Brodie Spencer coming back, I remember mocking the regime at the time, saying you can't class Brodie Spencer as a new signing, but he certainly feels like one. He's been the player that went out on loan. I mean, we didn't see much of him before he went out, but looks completely different to the one that's come back. And I think when we did bring him back, I didn't expect him to get as many minutes as he has, but I'm definitely glad he has, because he's a starter for me at fullback, at left fullback. If we can get, like I said, if we can have him fit, Balker fit, and Hellick fit in a back 4 or even in a back 5, I think that to me is a very strong base to build a good defence. And with regards to Matos, I mean, I don't want to insult Johnny Hogg's career, right? Because he's got promotion at the Prem twice, and he's played in a number of maybe over 40 Premier League games. But I think it's time now for him to, as I mentioned, to play a bit part off the bench and let Alex Matos do his bit. His energy, his high press, his ability to somehow avoid getting booked. Because he always seems to be on the edge. But I think Matos is exciting. I think he'll flourish under the Andre regime and the way that he plays football. I think he's that sort of pivot role that Andre needs in his team. So I think Matos and the new gaffer are a bit of a match made in heaven, mate, to be honest.
And I also think Jack Radoni will flourish under him as well. And I don't think he'll play him on the left. I think he'll put him back in centre attacking midfield where he's suited. Actually, do you know what? I think the whole midfield suits the way that Andre wants to play. Because if Ben Wiles gets fit, and I've been a critic of his, if he gets fit, then he's got an engine on him, hasn't he? He can get up and down the pitch and press. I mean, we kind of saw it a little bit under Worthy. Sometimes he was going ahead of the striker.
Yeah, all of a sudden, mate. I was saying this to my pals today. All of a sudden, we've got a little bit of a competition for place in the middle of the park. You think you've got Matos and Hogg, you got Kasumu, you got Radoni, you got Ben Wiles, you got Bergsorg who can play in the number 10, you got Karomu who can play number 10. All of a sudden, you've kind of got a pool of midfielders there that just gives us a completely different dynamic. We've got players who are battling for places. I think Ben Wiles against Sunderland was outstanding. Like, he was absolutely brilliant against Sunderland. And then, like I said, he was a little bit leggy against Hull at the weekend. But honestly, for me, my midfield 3 at the moment would be Matos, Kasumu, and Ben Wiles. And I never thought I'd at the start of the season I'd be saying that Ben Wiles would be my starting 11. But if he's obviously getting back to match fitness, but I just think that he works so hard. And back to Jack Radoni as well. I think Jack Radoni must have made maybe a handful of tackles against Sunderland, winning the ball high up the pitch, which again is energy.
Harsh to leave Jack out.
I'm not saying we leave him out, mate. I just think maybe he doesn't start in the mid, in sort of a number 10 position. Again, it's always going to be harsh, but isn't it better saying, we're having to leave this player out, and it feels harsh, rather than I don't know who's going to come in at number 10 at the weekend. I don't know who's going to play great. No, it's just good to have. It's just good to have these conversations, mate. I don't think I can remember in the last 12 months where we've not agreed on the starting 11 just purely because we've only had 11 players available.
Yeah. And obviously Kevin did mention that in his diary the other day. In terms of Watford at the weekend, then we've had sort of good and bad memories against Watford. I remember we beat them 4-1 on the last day, I think, of the season in 2013. Danny Ward scored a hat-trick. What was the keeper called that day? Bond. I think it was Bond, which amused a lot of town fans at the time. And then we also beat them, I think it was 4-1 again when we were in the Premier League. Laurent de Potter scoring with, I think Aaron Moy scored that day as well. So, we've had good memories. We've had some pretty bad memories against them too. But, hopefully this weekend, like most fans that we've seen tonight with the comments, really excited about the fixtures, Zach. And you're going yourself. Go on, tell us how excited you are and what you're looking for.
No, I am, mate. I genuinely am. I think we've got that feel-good factor about following Town on the road again. Look, we might turn up, we might lose, but I just want to see a performance on the same trajectory that I've seen in the last 4. I think we've had some really good times against Watford in recent memories. The Tom Ince last-minute winner at home,
of course, yeah.
The Keane Harrott header last season, and then 3-2, wasn't it? Massive 3 points last year, absolutely huge they were actually. The Joe Lynch overhead kick at home as well on that really foggy evening. I think maybe, what was that, 2013, 2014?
Something like that, yeah.
Watford's always been a team that we've got something against. Really good memories against Watford. Some great away days, some absolutely great away days away at Watford. The 4-1 in the Prem was quality. I was living down there at the time as well, and my mates came down and stayed over, so that was brilliant. Last season, I think we sold out away at Watford. That away end was loud. Good, mate. Really good memories, and I genuinely think, look, we might go there, we might get rolled, we might get turned over, right? But I just want to see a performance, and I'm just excited to be getting back in the car on Saturday and talking some Huddersfield Town filth on the way down, and I'm just looking forward to it, mate.
And it's a nice ground actually. I remember going there on one of the bad days in the Prem, but it's a nice little ground and lovely pub down the road as well, and nice fans are Watford fans really. A bit like Reading in a sense that I don't think they're the type of fan base to ever get too much above the station really, which is good. Obviously you talk about. We'll just touch on it very quickly because I think it's a very positive stream this, but we've had in recent the month or so, Kane Harrott's been banned from football for the rest of the season. Ian brought it up earlier. Do we think his career's done at Town? Who knows? I mean, obviously the club are supporting him behind the scenes. We don't really know, much about what's going on there. I think the problem for Kane is that, we've got lots of options now up front, and I presume we'll be making more signings within the summer window regarding the striker position. So it'll be difficult for me. I can't really see him getting back into the first team picture now. Zach, I don't know about you.
Yes, I mean, I was just obviously talking about one of Keane Harrott's best moments in a Town shirt away at Watford last season when he come on and scored that header at the front post. And that's a glimpse of the sort of player that he can be. I mean, look, life's about learning, isn't it? And I don't think anyone can sit here and say that, he shouldn't be doing this, he shouldn't be doing that. And it's easy for people to say he's a footballer who's got everything he could ever dream of, but he's still a young lad. He's still a young lad, and he's made a mistake. Don't define him as a footballer. It's not really come at a great time in his career because there was an opportunity for him to really establish himself this season at Town, especially with the lack of strikers and the amount of injuries we've had. So that's a shame. As you mentioned, he's probably going to be 4th choice if everyone's fit.
Well, he's definitely behind Bojan, Dell, Danny Ward when he's fit, and probably Josh Koroma up there. So I'd even put him 5th.
Maybe Reece Healy if he's fit as well. But
so he's looking at 5th then, really, if you look at that.
He is, but again, that's presuming that everyone's fit and that everyone stays in the summer as well, because his season's done. So I don't necessarily think it's his him done in a Town shirt. I just think it might impact the amount of game time that he gets next season. I mean, the jury's out yet on Bojan and Reece Healey, right? I mean, they might be absolute flops. We've seen Bojan left on the bench under John Worthington, and Danny Ward being brought on ahead of him, and Diarra and Bergzorg, who have all been injured for a lengthy period of time. So again, I'm not, to put Bojan above him is based on just what he's done in Finland.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like,
that is true. That is true.
And again, Bojan might come good, and I'm sure he will, and obviously good stuff. But we know what we know, and I know that Keane Harriet, there is a player in there. But yeah, just hopefully he gets his head down and just knuckles down. And I don't think he can train, can he, with the squad? I don't think that's what happened with Ivan Toney. He was banished from the squad, so I hope he keeps himself fit, comes back in pre-season, and gives Andre a decision to make.
Yeah. Do we think Bojan will start at Watford? For me, no, because I think, we've played with... Well, it depends how you want to set up, doesn't it? Nobody actually knows, because he didn't actually say who was fit and who wasn't fit in his press conference, because he said he wanted to keep it secret. But for me, if Dell's fit, if Thomas and Karoma's fit, you got to play them three, I think. And then it's up to whoever he wants in the midfield. But no, I don't see Bojan starting. I think he'll be on the bench. He'll be in the squad, but he's not starting. Not for me.
It just worries me the lack of game time that John Worthington give him. And obviously, I trust John Worthington's opinion of a footballer because he sees him day in, day out on training. And obviously, John's a good coach, but I don't think he starts, mate. I don't know how he can. Honestly, I don't know if you were the same, but the fact that you've got Danny Ward and Bergzorg coming on ahead of him when both have been out for long periods, a little bit concerning.
Yeah, but also the caveat that I'd go with that is that them two players have, particularly Danny Ward, have played in this league for a long time, haven't they? Or in terms of Bergzorg, he's played a lot of games this season for us. So, I think that there's a slight caveat there. Bojan might be just getting used to being in England still. Do you know what I mean? Some players settle quicker than others, don't they? But for me, he doesn't start. I think it's sad that Reece Healey's got injured and doesn't look, I don't know how long his injury's left to go. Hopefully it's not as bad as what we think it is. Or hopefully it's not as bad as what, some people might think it is. What's your prediction then for Watford?
So I'm gonna go 2-2. I think we're 2-2. And I think we'll probably get an early goal as well, Town. But yeah, I take a point, mate. I take a point. But 2-2.
2-2. I think I'm gonna go 3-1. I've got a positive feeling. I just think it's been a very positive time, and you're all right. We lost a hole, but we should have got a point. I just think it's everything that's happened over the last week. There's just been such a change of view and mindset, and in terms of last couple of weeks actually, but particularly this week with Andre coming in, and I just think the players will be fired up for it, mate. I can't see them not being wanting to get right into Watford, and Watford are. I mean, they're not amazing, are they? If we're being honest, we're not. We're not talking about Southampton, Leicester, or Leeds here, are we?
No, mate, no. But they still got some quality in the squad.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I think they only won 1 in 6 at home or something. So they're due a win as well, aren't they? And we all know what football is like. All this positivity, and them not winning at home in 6. It's all set up for a Town loss. But I hope you're right, mate. And honestly, I'm just glad that we're sat here on a Thursday night talking about how excited we are for an away game on a Saturday. It's just completely different to where we were 5 weeks ago.
100%. And thanks everybody for your comments as well. We've had loads of them in. Obviously, Adam's come in and said that he can't wait to see Halleck back. I think me and Zach are particularly excited to see that partnership, hopefully with Bolker coming to fruition longer term. And he's put Watford have a worse home record than us. So yeah, interesting. I mean, means nothing on paper, but hopefully on the pitch we'll get the better of them on Saturday. So let's just end the stream here. Really, Zach, positivity. What's the things you're taking away from the last week or so?
Yeah, just that, mate. Just the positive mindset, and I think it'll be nice to see the fans and the club as one again. I think we haven't seen that since probably last stages of last season, and then obviously a little bit under John Worthington, and obviously that was just a little bit of an uncertain time with who the new manager. So yeah, the fact that we've got positive mindset back, and it'll be nice to be in the terraces on Saturday, getting behind the lads.
All right, well, thanks everybody for watching this live stream. Cheers, Zach, for coming on again. Obviously, we'll have Cal on next time. He was our insight really into. I'm not saying Zach didn't have any knowledge, but Cal definitely pulled it out the bag when we were in our WhatsApp group with Mr. Andre. And yeah, excited for Watford. Safe trip down, mate. Hope everything goes well. Thanks everybody for getting your comments in, and we'll see you very, very soon on the next podcast. Coming up later tonight is a Leeds United special with Stephen Brown and Jason Booker. So tune in for that. And also share, subscribe, and like the channel. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Cheers.